24,000 miles through New Jersey, running around to candidate events, to campaign events. If you're a fact junkie, it's 24,500 miles around the globe. So we've circumnavigated it twice since January, but for good reason. You know, one of the things that I've really learned spending these last 10 months running around is that we have a better message. We got better candidates. You got better local candidates. We've got better county candidates. We've got fantastic legislators who care about you, who care about their communities, who care about going to Trenton and trying to do the right things. You know, and I think the roles have really reversed over these last several years. You know, I think that the perception was that it used to be the Democrats' answer to the working class and the middle class, and the Republicans, you know, we only cared about the rich and the elite. But I can tell you from running around New Jersey that that is not the case at all. We have a governor who 2 weeks ago went to Rowan College and said, if tax rate is your issue, we're not your state. Basically said that if you don't like what he's doing, move. And the problem with that is people can't afford to. We literally lead New Jersey in a laundry list of worsts. Highest property taxes, highest income taxes, worst tax climate, worst road conditions, worst transit, highest foreclosure rate, lowest mainland gross domestic product in America. And believe it or not, actually 1 in 4 families in New Jersey still goes hungry. So, you know, we have a governor who goes out and says what he says, and then sadly people are listening because we also lead the country in the out-migration of businesses and residents. More jobs and more people are leaving New Jersey than any other state in America because the governor's policies are literally tearing families apart. I challenge any one of you to walk down a street, whether it's in Montvale or in Bergen County or anywhere in New Jersey, and not find a family who hasn't been negatively affected by what the governor's doing. To find a family that doesn't have a child who can't afford to come back to New Jersey because they can't afford to live here, or to find parents or grandparents who can't afford to retire here. You know, that's the governor's legacy. That's the governor's message. That's why we're fighting so hard to send a conservative check and balance to Trenton to end that era of single party rule. I say all the time, elections are not like the 8th grade, or at least not the 8th grade in 2019. We don't all get a trophy for participating. You actually got to win elections to be able to govern. And you've seen what 20 years of Democratic control is capable of producing. We are really happy with the party that we're building, with the team that we're assembling, with where we've come in literally 2 years. When I started as chairman, we had 64 active donors at the Republican State Party. That's it, 64. Probably a little more than twice what the number of people stand in this room. We're now closing in on 3,000 active donors. And believe it or not, almost 40% of those are actually new to the Republican Party this year, folks that are getting involved in the Republican Party again. We've registered 212,000 new Republicans since January of 2017, compared to 56,000 in the whole 8 years prior. So, you know, we're chipping away at it. Holly, Bob, a town at a time, community at a time, at a legislative district at a time. President Trump dropped a call this morning into LD1, where it looks like we have a chance to flip a Senate seat for the first time in over a decade and take back a little Senate seat. We're dropping messages into LD8 where Ryan Peters and the Sheriff Stanfield are under attack. We were walking earlier today in 16. We're up here visiting with your legislators up here because, as these guys all said, every vote matters. In an off-year election like this year, where you're going to get like 30% turnout, this is the chance where if we can just get our Republican friends to the polls, even though we're fighting in a state where we're disadvantaged, you know, we get outspent 5-1. We're working off of a Democratic map that was gerrymandered by Democratic Party bosses to perpetuate their majority, that as long as we reach out to our friends and neighbors and text the 10 friends that Bob Law suggested that you text, that we can upend that Democratic advantage, that we can lessen the gap between us and the registered Democrats and actually win seats. So look, go out tomorrow, vote. As the chairman said, we can all rest tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, but until then, go out and get every vote that you can. These folks have earned it. They really have, and they'll work hard for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman. And in 30 hours from now, we will be celebrating big in here. And then on Wednesday morning, Frank, come on, Frank. Frank, our next mission will be to take on Josh Gottheimer next year. One of us. And we will take on also Cory Booker. So
good.
This is what we're doing afterwards. Thanks for coming, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you
for coming
so
all the
much.
way here.
Chairman Ziza, thanks.